And the hardest boss fights? Well, there's plenty of them in this game. Like this one where you're on stage in this theater-like place, facing off against this woman. I mean, wow, this bitch doesn't screw around. But who can blame her, since you are crashing her wedding and what comes after with the baby that throw deadly bottles out the window. There's this bitch that lives inside of a house made of candies that summons all these sweet but deadly foods that try to attack you. Yeah, guess that'll make you think twice before eating junk food. And you also have to fight her too after all that. And trust me, it's even more of a pain in the ass. You got this beehive-like thing with, well, what else? Killer bees that try to attack you and throw shit at you. And some insane flying stages. One with the freaking giant robot thing out of a junkyard, and I swear I could never avoid his attacks. I tried like crazy, it's just near impossible. And how about this evil genie guy on a magic carpet? Heh, not exactly a whole new world here, considering he has you maneuvering through these totem poles by shooting the weak spot. And then fighting him in the form of a mummy with a very creepy ass looking face. Yeah, this game definitely has its share of mind. I'm not kidding. I mean, you got a pirate ship with a face, which I'll actually admit this is one of my favorite boss fights in the game. But, yeah. You got a flower with a face, an evil flying female zeppelin on a unicycle that turns into an evil looking bull cloud, and then an evil looking moon. God damn, that's creepy. Then even an evil potato that turns into a crying onion, and then an evil looking carrot. Jeez, and I thought vegetables were supposed to be good for you. Apparently not according to this game, especially when you got Judge Doom looking eyes. I mean, Christ, if that's not creepy enough, then I don't know what is. So, aside from the twisted looking boss fights, there are also some really cool ones as well. My favorites, as I mentioned, one of them being the pirate ship. My favorite flying stage is when you're facing off against this big woody woodpecker-like bird that's apparently stuck inside of a birdhouse. I mean, yeah, I guess I'd be going nuts too if that happened to me. Carnival one on the roller coaster is also really cool, but that twisted-looking clown-like guy. And I also like the one where you're on the train facing off against these ghosts that throw eyeballs, followed by this big giant skeleton that comes out of the car and tries to hit you with his giant hands. And then these two things come out of the cars trying to kill you, which I swear look like clock pendulums with creepy-ass looking faces. Although you are going through a dark, creepy, misty-looking forest, so these kind of characters actually fit the mood of the level pretty well. So if you manage to beat all these boss fights on the normal difficulty, then good for you, because, well, that's the only way you're going to be able to access the last level in this game. Otherwise, well, guess what? You gotta go back and get all the soul contracts, as I mentioned before, by doing so. And even when you do manage to get all the soul contracts and be able to access the last level, you still have to face off against the devil's right-hand man, King Dice himself. And let me assure you, he's anything but easy. He starts out by putting you on a betting table, where you have to hit and roll the die to determine what your fate will be, whether you're going to land on a safe space, or go in to fight a boss. Several of the bosses are what you expect. There are many inanimate objects that have faces on them, like a cigarette, a roulette spinner, and a domino, just to name a few. Some of these spaces actually give you pieces of health back, but the biggest downside is if you lose all your health in any of these fights, you have to start all over again. It's that sadistic. I mean, I'm not kidding. He ain't the devil's right-hand man for nothing, I guess you could say. And then, if you manage to make it to the end, that's where you have to fight King Dice himself. And as I said before, it's anything but easy. I mean, this guy really wants you dead. And then if you manage to beat him, you still got to fight the Prince of Darkness himself, the Devil, who comes in not one, not two, not three, but four, count 'em, 4 different phases. Wow. Talk about a level out of hell right there. I guess that'll teach these characters to think twice before betting their souls against the devil himself. Because this, my friends, is one hell of an adventure. And a very difficult one too as well. So if you beat him, then bravo. You've beaten the devil, You get the ending with, well, still images, which I can cut some slack considering it's a cartoon. I mean, it's not like this is actually going to get a cartoon series. And oh, wait, shit, that's right, it's going to get one on Netflix. Ah, I stand corrected there. And I should also mention there's a 2-player co-op mode where one player picks Cuphead and the other picks Mugman, and it plays pretty much exactly like Contra. No different right there. You're both on screen, no split screen action. Not much to say there. It's pretty fun. It makes taking down these ghosts in the mausoleum stages a hell of a lot easier, as well as taking out swarms of enemies and the boss fights. And if one player loses all their health, the other player can perform the parry move on them with untimely manner and bring them right back. But with only one piece of health, that is. And yes, this works on every level, including flying boss fight stages as well. So overall, all I could say is despite this game's incredible difficulty and occasionally frustrating aspects, this game definitely has a lot of replayability. For $20, I'm not disappointed at all. Being that especially that I did not grow up with this style of animation, I mean, it was way before my time. And after watching all this CGI and all this digital animation, which some of it is good, but this is definitely refreshing for the most part. This hand-drawn style animation and self-awareness of what it is definitely adds to the creativity and gives us something that reminds us of the past and how great it was. The animation is gorgeous, and with this kind of contrasting, and even with the old school type of music, you can't go wrong right here. So, my final verdict is, rock and Wii Remote Wii Motion Plus up and the Play Mirror mode up. Trust me, it's old school style animation, and it's fun. So, till next time, happy gaming. Wow, I didn't know it does that.